guess what? I don't know, that shocked me that you would thought that a lot of them would start dying, but they started to multiply. And Pharaoh sent out a decree. And actually, this is 400 years later. Pharaoh sent out a decree to kill all the firstborn males so that they couldn't grow up and fight against him. When Moses was born, his mother said she hid him for 3 months. And after that, she couldn't, she was going to have to do something, so she put her son in the Nile. And it says that the Pharaoh's daughter poured him from the Nile. And then it says she raised him as her own son, and he grew up in the palace. He became a prince, y'all. And so that was his first deliverance that Moses went through. And it says he spent 40 years. So one day Moses saw an Egyptian beating up on a Hebrew slave. So Moses killed this Hebrew slave. So then Moses had to run away. He had to escape from Pharaoh because the death penalty was on his head. So he became a fugitive. He was running from what was happening there. So they said he landed in the land of Midian, where it said he spent 40 years tending to his father-in-law's sheep. So then that's where we pick up in our lesson. And there was three points that the lesson gave us in this particular text. It says God is continual, God is concerned, and God is changeless. The first one is, verse 1 through 6 is God is continual. It says, meanwhile, Moses was shepherding the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. That's also called Mount Sinai. Then the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame within a bush. And Moses looked, and he saw the bush was on fire, but not consumed. So the first thing is this is the ultimate statement of self-sufficient, self-existence, and eternally constant. He said that when Moses saw Moses came to the point where he saw this bush burning, and it was not being consumed by fire. We know that if you burn anything, you light a mat, you light something on a tree or something, it's going to burn. But it was burning, but it wasn't being consumed. And he was in awe of what was going on. So it says he started walking up closer and closer to this particular thing. He said that Moses, after Moses got and he saw what was happening, he didn't understand what he was looking at. And most of us probably, if a miracle was happening in front of us, we would not understand it. If something like that was happening, we would try to figure out what was going on. And it says, as he got closer, it says, and he saw the bush. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called out to him from the bush. God called out to him from the bush. And that is so powerful that God met Moses at a place that he probably never thought he would meet him at. And when I say with that, God would meet you where you are. Regardless of your past, regardless of what you've done in the past, God had already planned to meet Moses at Mount Sinai to reveal himself to Moses. And then it says, not only did he call out Moses where he knew who he was by calling out his name. How many know God know your name? He knows who you are. And he recognized who he was. And then the thing is, Moses was probably, as he told him that he was on holy ground, but Moses was like, I'm running. I'm running from I'm running from this situation that I was in, and why am I put in this situation that I'm at? Why did you choose me to reveal yourself to me? And then it also said that not only did God reveal himself through the bush, it said he also answered him. He said, told him to come close. He says, remove your sandals, for you are your feet, for your place where you are standing on holy ground. Then he continued, and he said that I am God, your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. And most of us probably in that same situation, right? We've run away from some stuff that we've done. We might not have killed someone, but we've still sinned, and we've done something, and we've run away from God. But sometimes when we run away from God, God is just preparing us to reveal himself one day to us. I don't know about y'all. I used to run from God, and you probably been running too. Some of us probably still running. But the thing is, God will always reveal himself and let you know where you stand with him. He told him, you standing on holy ground. He's like, you standing on holy ground, and I'm allowing you to stand on holy ground, and I'm allowing you to be in front of me because I got a job that I need you to do for me. And it says God is continued. That means that he's self-sufficient. He doesn't need anything. He's self-existent. He's constant. Nobody created him, and he needs nothing outside of himself to exist. No one else can make that claim but God. No one can claim that they don't need anything. We need him to provide everything that we have. Most of us say, man, I got this, you don't got nothing. Because what the Psalms 24 says, verse 1 says, for the earth is the Lord, and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell in. Because he owns everything. Everything belongs to him. So he knows he put him in a situation where he told him that I'm about to prepare you for something. And how many know that he was preparing him all the time? The preparation didn't start when he got to Midian. The preparation started when he was in Egypt. How many people do you know was actually in the palace and knew how the Egyptian worked? He was not only raised as an Egyptian, but he was really Hebrew. So who could better represent the people of God than a person that knew how Egypt worked? And then it says, for 40 years he was in Egypt, but then in 40 years he worked as a shepherd. Most people don't want that job. You're around these smelly animals all day long, and then it said, what I loved about it, he didn't own anything. It said it was his father-in-law's sheep that he kept for 40 years. So he learned how to be a servant. God had been preparing him. 40 years in Egypt, 40 years in Midian, and now God at 80 years old is about to give him another assignment. Most of us at 80 years old say, I'm done. I done my job. How many know sometimes your job may just be beginning? Or maybe you always had the calling, but you're just starting to answer the call. You know, some people wait till they know I better go to church now. You've always had the calling, you've always had the anointing, but you've never used it. So now he's put in a place where he can help. Then we go to verse 9 and 12. It says, God is concerned. It says, God knows everything that is happening to his people. How many know he knows everything that goes on with us? God cares about his people. Although God had seemingly been absent for 400 years, God was all the time paying attention to the people. They were crying out, we're in slavery. Why are we going through this? And why are we going through? But God was always concerned, but sometimes our timing ain't God's time, right? We want stuff to happen quick and in a hurry. But most of us admit, I got to wait 400 years to be free. I mean, if you just look at the passage of of slavery with black people. It's a lot of people that suffer to get you where you at today. And we take for granted the privileges that we have today. Some of us don't even go and vote. Oh, man, I don't need to vote. You know, people died so you can have that right to do that. So a lot had happened in 400 years, but then this was a perfect time to use a man like Moses. He was a killer, but God can change your narrative. He can change you from what you used to be to what he wants you to be. That's good news, y'all. And it said he had already equipped him as a deliverer. Look at this. Moses got delivered from the Nile, and now God is asking him to deliver some others from Egypt. God is saying that you already know what delivery looks like because you've been through it. And I'm about to deliver you from the sin of killing someone. So you're the perfect person to do this job. God will meet us where we are, but Moses doubted his abilities. He had a question for God. He said, who am I and why me? I don't have the skills. I don't have the abilities to handle what you're asking me to do. But the problem was Moses was too busy looking at himself. But God redirects his attention from himself. In verse 12, he says, you won't, let me read it from the text here. He answered, I will certainly be with you, and this will be the sign to you that I am the one who sent you, and you will bring the people out of Egypt, and you will all worship God at the mountain. He said, you won't be doing this great work alone. He says, my presence will be with you. That's some good news, y'all. That God told him that you ain't doing this on your might. You're not doing this out of your own power. You're doing this on the power that I have placed in you. You got some shortcomings, but I've already given you the tools. How many know God is never going to send you somewhere and he's not going to equip you to do the job? If you can't do the job, maybe you weren't meant to do the job. Maybe you're trying to do the job on your own. Maybe God hasn't really called you to do it. But in this case, God has called him to say, Moses, this is your assignment. Nobody can do this assignment but you. So take your eye off of you and focus on me. I like Philippians 4:13. It says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And then I really like Isaiah 41:10 in the Amplified version. It says, do not fear anything, for I am with you. Do not be afraid, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Be assured that I will help you. I will certainly take hold of you with my righteous right hand, a hand of justice, a hand of power, a hand of victory, and a hand of salvation. God said that I'm going to hold you with my right hand. So he said, I got you the whole time. Whatever issues that you're going to face when you go back to Egypt, don't worry about that. I got all of those things covered because I am who I am. I am that I am. Then thirdly, it says, God is changes, verse 13 to 15. It said God responds to Moses about his name. Moses asked God, if I go to Israel and they say to them, the God of your ancestor has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? What should I tell them? And then God replied to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent you to me. I am who I am. That means that we can't put a name on him. He's so bigger than that. He says, I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. He said, I am the door. He said, I am the good shepherd. He said, I am the resurrection of life. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And he said, I am the true vine. He's like, I'm revealing, when they ask you who I am, just tell them I am who I am. that I am God, and in front of me there is no other. He said, I'm greater than anything that's ever existed. And then let them know that all the stuff that they've been going through, I haven't died. I haven't left them. I've seen all the pain and agony that they've been going through. And you know what? That's why I'm sending you. And when you go to them, go boldly to them. In my name, stating that, hey, I got you. I'm going to deliver you from whatever you're going through. Anybody need to be delivered? Anybody need to be revived? He was like, you can be revived just from my name. He said, my name has so much power in it. Have you ever just called, you've been in a situation where you don't know how you're going to get out the situation, and you just start calling his name? And just by calling his name, you get revived. You feel better. I mean, you ain't got to say nothing but Jesus. And you feel revived, you feel renewed just from calling on his name. He's like, there's importance in my name. My people know who I am. And so he said, basically he was telling them, hey, let them know, don't get discouraged. I know you're finna face a big task. And how many know that Moses, just like a lot of us, whenever God calls us to do something, we have a lot of questions we want to have answered. God, how am I going to do this? How is this going to happen? We want to know the whole story, don't we? We want him to lay blueprint it out to me, God. How is this going to happen? And how many know that God said, you got to trust me. If you can trust me, then you can see it. You don't need to know. Just know that I'm with you. And I'm going to lead and I'm going to guide you where I need you to go. So how many know that he had to go back to the place where he was facing a murder charge? Come, I mean, most of us were like, man, we still been running. He's like, okay, God, I'm gonna do what you say. We just left the holy mountain and we just started running the other way, wouldn't we? We said, this ain't for me. This too big for me. How many know with God ain't nothing too big? And so he had to put away his pride, put away for the fear that he had in himself, and take on the mantle that God has given him to do. How many of us are still running? Most of me said, running for Jesus, I ain't tired yet. Why are you running from him? Why are you running from him? How many know all he is doing is trying to get the best out of you? How many know he created us? He know everything about us. He know how we move, and he know exactly what's best for us. How many want to get something that's made and don't use it for what it's made for? He made you he gave you an assignment. One of the assignments was to evangelize. That's one of us. If you don't know what your calling is, that's your calling. Huh? He given some of us some gifts that we're sitting on these gifts. Or we're too embarrassed about what we used to be. And if people see us, I mean, I got friends that see me online. Oh man, you teaching Sunday school now? I remember when you was drinking and you was doing this, you doing that. I'm like, that's the old me. I'm a new creature. Old things have passed away. How many know God will change you if you want to be changed? We got to want to be changed. Our heart got to be willing to give up some stuff. You willing to give up some stuff? Make some sacrifices? If we are, and the thing is, how Moses, God revealed himself to Moses, and he reveals himself to us every Sunday. He reveals himself sometimes at home. He talks to us, and some of us try to ignore it. But let's start listening to his voice. He says his sheep know his voice. We recognize when he's calling us. Let's answer the call. Ain't nothing too hard for God. Amen? These are going to be some great lessons, y'all. The name of God, a name like no other. Amen.